And it looks like I'm on. So, hi, welcome to Sunchild Tarot. And there I immediately knock the camera. My name's Dee, your Professor of Woo Woo, and I'm saying that purely for the recording afterwards because I don't think anybody will be here yet. Now, please bear with me a moment while I share all of my share the stream and on all the 101 different social media channels, and just check for a second that the sound is coming through. Yes, the sound is actually working this time. This is my second attempt. So if I give it a like, because why not? The algorithm's got to see it somehow. And now refresh here. And then bring it up on Firefox. So then that way I can share it along. No, I want to see the actual thing. Okay. Technology is going to make it difficult. So as you can see by the title, I've got a lot to talk about. This is actually the second birthday of my channel. I started this in, oh, what is it, 2021? So yeah, 2019. Right, I'm finally at that share bit, so bear with me. Tumblr and Twitter. And now, of course, it's taking an age. There is a live chat, so if you are watching, please do drop in and say hello, because I have got you on a second screen here, and if the signal is a bit choppy at the moment, then that's because I'm running it through two different browsers. So there we go. Share on my personal page, so maybe some of my friends will turn up, and then share it on the Sunchild Tarot Facebook page, which normally I would put in the description down below. And if you're watching on the recording, I'll have done it by that point. So yes, you can find all my social media down below. So Twitter, there's a, oh, what do you call it? A link tree, which can take you to my Tumblr and all sorts. So if you're wanting to contact me, there's like 100 and different routes of how to do it. So let me just check that there's nowhere else I'm supposed to be sharing it. I don't think so. You could, I haven't even heard of half of these social media accounts. So there, and get rid of Firefox so that the computer won't melt. Get rid of Chrome, which the only thing I'm not running right now is DuckDuckGo. I've got Edge running up here. So, hi, happy Samhain, everybody. Welcome to the day where the gates are open. And let's face it, we've all been going through quite a lot of changes with the astrology recently, and I don't think anything is going to calm down towards the end of the year. And it's not me saying that, it's the 101 astrology videos that I'm watching, or astrologers on YouTube that I'm watching, that are telling me this. And yeah, you can feel it in the air, can't you? Haven't things sped up? It's this Saturn-Uranus square. We're coming towards the end of the year, and that freedom versus control row is getting bigger. And that's partly what I want to talk about to start off with, because I haven't necessarily had this gentleman on my channel, but YouTube has, what's the word, barred? Deplatformed. That's it, deplatformed. YouTube has deplatformed EA Koetting and the Become a Living God channel. Now, I would say that EA was one of my inspirations. I spent 10 years away from the Hocus Pocus. And then when I moved into this house, the switch flipped and it all turned on again. And so that was what I was just looking for some inspiration of, right, what do I do next with my Hocus Pocus? And it was during that time that I found EA and used to regularly watch his videos. But YouTube has deplatformed EA, as has Facebook earlier this week, and the Become a Living God forum, which is for magicians who work with goetic spirits, magicians who demonolatry. So they're self-identified black magicians, which is a very political definition, to be quite honest. That's it's just as much a self-development technique as the 101 other self-development techniques that are out there. And personally, I think, the putting black in front of black magician is more of a political term than anything else, because a magician is a magician. Someone who works with spirits, works with angels, works with demons, works with elementals, works with fire spirits, whoever, whatever, God forms, as you can in a lot of pagan rituals, then that's magic. That's working with spirit. I would even, to a great extent, include mediums in that definition, although I would imagine a lot of mediums wouldn't necessarily include themselves in that definition. But in London in 2020, a user of Become a Living God's forum, who I'm not going to name, killed 2 women in Hyde Park. Now, he was barking mad. Pretty obviously, he was barking mad. This last week, he's been jailed and sentenced. And I really, that was a horrible, horrible thing. But he had formed a pact with Lucifuge Rofakal to deliver 6 women in 6 months in order to bring him fame, fortune, all the general, the usual lower uses of magic. And I say lower because, hey, I'm not beyond, like, I could do with some extra money to pay my bills this month, so I'll come on to that later as well. But there are definitions of low magic and high magic. Low magic being affecting your day-to-day life, your material 3D life. Higher magic of inner personal working, spiritual transmutation, spiritual development work within yourself. So that's I'm not criticizing by calling it low magic, although I am criticizing this one fella. But the fact is, he was barking mad. And this one, you don't put things like that in a pact. That's ridiculous. We live in a society where there are rules that we have to abide by. And I think not killing people is a good rule. So he's crazy. However, this one BBC reporter, who I would refuse to name, but the fact is I've forgotten his name as we're speaking right now, but I don't really care because I wouldn't name him anyway, found out that this guy was a member of the Become a Living God forum. It's not as if Become a Living God is the only demonolatry forum or magical forum that's on the internet. But oh no, it's all EA's fault, because when he was 20 and young and stupid, he wrote an article for the Order of Nine Angles. The Order of Nine Angles are a known fascistic magical organisation who I don't think even exist anymore. That was 20 years ago. We've all made some form of mistake in our lives when we was in, like, when finishing up our teen years and in our very early 20s. So that's that story. But this reporter went to Facebook and went to, YouTube, and said, is it really appropriate that this person's on your platform? Which was basically, it's trying to engender some form of satanic panic to get the clicks and get the click through. Blaming Become a Living God and EA or really any of the magical sites that are on the internet, for this one person's actions is like blaming Henry Ford for the driver who ploughed his car into the protesters in Charlottesville. There is no direct causality. When someone is barking mad, they will fixate on whatever they will fixate on. And I don't think that trying to blame, it's like the satanic panic of the 80s, blame rock music for suicide. No, blame the fact that someone was so miserable and so desperate that they felt that was their only way out. And why do they feel like that? Could be an internal emotional thing, or could be a reaction to what was, or rather what was not around them in their lives. So to turn around and say that EA is responsible, it's disgusting. The person who is responsible is the person who got sent to jail on Thursday or Friday. I think it was Thursday. Maybe even Wednesday, but it doesn't matter. Maybe I should have actually left Chrome up so I could recite all the details, chapter and verse, but they're not important. It's this market for getting click through. Let's have a new satanic panic, and let's victimize someone who's not responsible. But as I say, to blame EA and become a living god for this is to blame Henry Ford and Ford Motors for that driver driving into the protesters at Charlottesville. Mad people will find something to fixate on. It doesn't matter what it is, but if they are that way out, whether they are writing a pact to a demon, or whether they believe that they are serving Jesus Christ, or whether they believe they are fighting the shape-shifting reptilians, or let's look at Q. Or right, now we've done that, let's move on, because let's not look at Q, because that is a power that seems to be rising and entering political discourse. What is it? I think I read an article where they're saying Q had a presence in like 89 countries now, QAnon. That's terrifying. But that is a thing that feeds on people's madness. And just as much as the murderer chose Goetic magic with, well, it would be Goetic with Lucifer's Rothakal, as his focus, there's people who can use the nonsense that Q tell them as their focus. And if YouTube wants to paint itself as a bastion of free speech, and Facebook, look at the hypocrisy there, and look at the hypocrisy here. I have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook page for this channel. It's a necessity of life nowadays. But I am going to diversify. Finally, I've been planning this for like nearly since I started the channel. But to turn around and with Facebook and say, oh no, they're not going to fact politicians' lies, but they will listen to some reporter from the BBC. Now, this throws me into a really awkward space because I support the BBC as a former news junkie, which I've mentioned on this channel before, and someone who's, I wanted to be a journalist, and I've worked on some very small and inconsequential journalism projects over the years, that I'm a huge supporter of the BBC. I'm a huge supporter of the Ofcom code. It is not the BBC's or a BBC's reporter's place to turn around to say to YouTube and Facebook, is this appropriate? Nor is it their place to whip up a satanic panic. But I've lost a lot of faith in the BBC over the past few years. I am a licence fee payer. I'm going to later examine the law to see if I still have to be a licence fee payer, because I don't watch it. I rarely watch TV nowadays anyway. I'm always on this thing. So, but I'm playing into the Tories' hands. I am playing into the hands of them wanting to destroy the BBC, because the BBC is theoretically independent, as much as anybody is independent of anything nowadays. The whole point of the BBC is it's public service, independent from government, so that and independent of commercial imperative, independent of having to worry about its advertisers, independent of towing the corporate or the government line. That's what it's supposed to be, and that's not what it is anymore. And I am so heart-rendingly upset to actually see that. I'm not sure it ever was that, because nothing is ever what it says in modern society. And I don't think I'm wearing a tinfoil hat there. I think you can say since easily the 1950s and TV started, nothing to do with TV is exactly what it's supposed to be. There's always an agenda. I have an agenda here. So let me present my agenda. Apart from to say once more that what YouTube and Facebook are doing is terrifying. I've been watching like the discussion on YouTube, or lack of discussion on YouTube, about the coronavirus and the vaccine. And a lot of anti-vaxxers were getting deplatformed to a great extent. Good. I'll hold my hand up here. I'm pro-vaccine, assuming that it's does everything it says on the tin. I am totally pro-vaccine. It's a good idea. It's a public health matter. It's where you have to look after your neighbours as well as yourself. It's where you have to look after your elderly relatives, which is supposed to be our impulse anyway. We look after our families. Anyway, that's my rant there, put to one side. But what I didn't like is the silencing rather than the visual, obvious challenging of the misinformation that's out there. Just as there's no, I've lost it because a comment came up. Hello, Yafa. There's hello, Yafa. What do you mean by your calendar? So we have the comment in my calendar. The cards of this time are the Ace and Princess of Cups, the Five of Wands, the Hanged Man, and the Hermit and the Sun. I like that idea of the great discussion. That's what I was talking about. Yes, I believe that when there's bad information out there, you challenge it, you open it. When there is a dangerous viewpoint out there, you hold it up to the light of day, and you do not sweep it under a rug. You actually have a genuine discussion, and you try to win the argument, and you try to show what is true and what is not true, and what is still up for debate, and what needs to be researched, and what research actually says, and all that sort of thing. But I didn't really say a great deal about it because, hey, I'm pro-vaccine. I think it's a good idea. Sorry, Yafa. I see your comment on the thing there. But yes, I will agree with what you are saying, that there's a difference between vaccines, genetic modification, and poison with a probiotic. I'm not sure how applicable all of those, well, some of those are to the vax argument. I don't want to get into the vax argument. I want to get into the suppression of speech argument. That's the bit that really worries me. And also, I didn't say anything beforehand, apart from to some of my friends, because I didn't want to add to all the noise. There's enough people talking about it, and I want to focus on these. I want to focus on my astrology. I want to focus on what I'm doing. But with this EA Koetting thing, which really does sicken me the way he has been deplatformed, because the BBC went like that, or more specifically one journalist with the BBC. I do not want to condemn the BBC entirely because I don't want to play into the Tories' hands. But this suppression of speech and this implicit thought control, like you get with the YouTube algorithm, where the YouTube algorithm will recommend certain things to you and leave them all alone. I miss one kick in the teeth was when YouTube stopped sending out the notification emails from their about your subscriptions. I mean, I had an email inbox devoted specifically to that. And they said, yeah, well, only 2% or 5% of the emails get opened. That's true. That's absolutely true because they were so very well titled. I opened the ones that I wanted to do to click the link and I just deleted the other ones. It doesn't mean I wasn't paying attention to them. I want those email notifications back. YouTube's not going to listen to that, are they? So there is an implicit thought control. And we know that we've seen all the debate, the Facebook whistleblower testifying before Congress, before a select committee in Parliament here, and no doubt will be going to Europe at some point if she hasn't already. It is very, very worrying, and it's a natural outgrowth of commercial interest. I'm not going to say capitalism. I'm going to say commercial interest, and algorithms and technology. We can see the way that it's going. So, after the benefit of hello there, black and yellow penguin. That's very sweet of you to say. Thank you very much. Where was I? What was I talking about? I've forgotten. That's the danger of having the comments up. Yes, so D.H. Thorne, who has been a guest on this channel and is an associate or friend of EA, did his own live stream Friday all about this issue. I highly recommend that you go and watch it on the recording. I'll put the link down below, assuming I remember, and if I don't remember, someone can comment and let me know. But I had been thinking for about a year, I need to diversify. I need to go to other video platforms, BitChute, Odyssey, Vimeo, Dailymotion, whatever other ones are out there, to Philly D on, I think it's still called the Philly D Show, has been saying the same. Creators do have to diversify. But what's happened with EA has finally lit a fire under my backside. So I'm here here's my agenda. Over the next, hopefully by New Year, I will be broadcasting on Odyssey, on BitChute. I think there's one called Library. I think I'm going to reactivate my Vimeo account, look at Dailymotion, see if I could get on there. I've got no idea. So long since I've been to that site. And I'm also going to look to find some way to slightly monetize my channel, because I've not hit the magic 1,000 yet. That'll happen when it happens, but YouTube advertising revenue is not enough to live on. But the more I can actually be supported by the tarot and the astrology and the interviews and everything, then the more time I can actually devote to the tarot and the astrology and the interviews and everything, which is what I really want to do, because between now and Christmas, I've had to take on some extra days, which means my video output may be lower than what I would like it to be. I mean, heck, when I started this channel, I was churning out 36 to 48 readings a month. Fortunately, I had a job there where I could do lots of filming in bulk. You know, I was 4 days on, 4 days off. I'm not like that anymore. I have a normal office day, and that eats into the hours or eats into the money if I try and keep those 4 days. So I aim to have a Patreon. I might even join OnlyFans. And I always say that, OnlyFans, but you know what I mean. I believe that you can do respectable things on OnlyFans. So What I would like to put out there is what would you like to see? Because I'm still going to do my 12 basic, here's your zodiac reading for this month ish. And admittedly, it's ish because half the time it's halfway through the month before I actually publish the videos. But, so do you want to see extended readings on video? Do you want to see exclusive content on Patreon or OnlyFans? There is, actually not today there isn't, but there will, on my other videos there's a donate link right at the bottom. I have never said that on my videos before. I have never wanted to say it because I don't want it to be about money, but now I'm getting to the point where I do want it to be about money because I want to dedicate myself to this. I want to do this for a living. If I want to be a professor of woo-woo, as I so say it, then I want to be a paid professor of woo-woo so I can pay my rent with my woo-woo, so that sounds a bit horrible, doesn't it? But yeah, so what would you like to see? Hello, Sudu? Hello, Sudu. What would you like to see? Would you like to see extended readings, exclusive content? One thing that I like doing is my 6 decks readings. So they get quite in-depth, the 6 deck readings, because obviously for each position in the spread, there's 6 cards to be reading from. But I really enjoy them. They're so much fun to do. I am, as you maybe tell, I am not a less is more person. When it comes to playing with the cards, more is more, and I love more. So in fact, there's back when I lived in York many years ago, there was a friend of mine who used to have a little sort of catchphrase of more. And yeah, I'm exactly the same way when it comes to cards. So, yeah, what do you think I should do thank you very much, Black and Yellow. Now, there's, astrology, other decks, absolutely. I mean, well, we've had some great guests on this year. The gates, Christian, it is Samhain. It is the time where the veil is thinnest, so we can open the gates today especially to receive some wisdom from the other side, from spirits, but also I am planning on opening a gate today. I'm not I'm not doing an evocation and opening the gate to the infernal realms or anything like that, but I am opening the gate to my future. I am setting my stall out today to say, this is where I'm going. This is what I want to do. And if I fail on doing it, I want to be held accountable and have lots of people point out to me that I need to pull my finger out and do exactly what I said I was going to do. So like I say, by New Year, you should see me on Odyssey and on BitChute and on Library and Vimeo and what have you. And now a lot of people say that BitChute and Odyssey, for example, have become a haven for all the deplatformed alt-right. Yep. And I can't think of a better reason than having a voice like mine, because there are left-wing people who have gone to these as well. And I can't see a better reason for the spiritual community, the divinations, the astrologers, the definitely the magical community to go on there as well and to provide other voices until these platforms no longer become the haven of any one that's what I was going to say. Are no longer the haven of free speech because commercial interest will get involved there. It is a matter of always staying that one step ahead. But in the meantime, providing challenging voices to those viewpoints that you don't necessarily agree with, or exposing yourself to an audience that doesn't agree with you, doesn't think like you, and either maybe you have an effect, maybe you learn something in the process. You know, both things can happen. It's like those, I remember a few years ago when I was back into American election fever, and they were saying about what Democrats would not appear on Fox News. No, you numpties, go on Fox News. Absolutely. Hold your case and state your case on Fox News. Go and talk to your opponents. There's no point living in an echo chamber. And that's what both Facebook and YouTube risk becoming as your viewing is steered by the algorithms. You will exist in your own echo chamber, whether that's a left-wing echo chamber, a right-wing echo chamber, whatever. Echo chambers are not healthy. Right. That's everything that I want to say about that. But as I was saying, we've had some great guests this year. The videos are all available on this channel. We've had Travis Morgan from Bloodstone Studios. I hope it's Morgan. My brain has suddenly blinked. I'm sure anyway, Travis from Bloodstone Studios. McHenry, not Morgan. Where did I get Morgan from? Travis McHenry from Bloodstone Studios. Upcoming guests, I will be doing a show with astrologers Kat Rose Negan in the next couple of weeks. I will be composing a show with astrologer Carlos Hollander. I think he's Brazilian, and English is not his first language, so it's going to be filmed like I film a question, he sends me an answer, I film the next question, so you'll see lots of costume changes as the video goes along. And one of his things is the astrology of superheroes. Well, duh, you know, how could I not have him on? I will be chasing after some more interesting guests. I'm not going to say who yet, because half of them I haven't actually written to and said, do you want to come on my channel? Interestingly, and hopefully, I may well be appearing on D.H. Thorne's live stream this Thursday coming. Hopefully it works out, or if not, it will be one Thursday night. So that's 10 p.m. Eastern, which is 3 in the morning here. So if I look like I'm half dead, there's nothing wrong. It's 3 in the morning here. Let me see, who else have we got coming on? I will be doing a show with astrologer Barbara Bonvalot about, I think we were going to be talking about progressed lunations. And how your progressed chart changes through the life, by the phases of the moon, how that affects your life. And like I say, there's numerous other astrologers and magical people I hope to be working with. Plus, I will be appearing again soon on the Dead Time podcast, and Catherine Lundeen, the host of the Dead Time podcast, will be coming back with onto this channel, and we're going to be looking at basically the art of divination in and of itself. I mean, obviously I'm going to talk about cards because, hey, I love talking about cards, but actually looking at what the process of intuitive divination is in the context of using a tool such as tarot cards or tea leaves or what have you, to try and gain some insight and to get that working. I think that's all the plans that I have so far. So my next topic, let's just take a break for a moment and some water, and let me have a look at the comments. So Christian, yeah, we answered what gates are we opening? Thank you, Yefa, for, yes, that makes sense. The eyes, ears, nose, mouth, genitals, and anus are the 9 gates. Mafe Martinez, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Right, Black and Yellow Penguin, you have a question. I have a somewhat magical question. Yesterday I took a souvenir, a leaf that fell on me from a supposedly cursed place. I've been sick for the past hours. I took it without permission. After taking meds and getting rid of it, I feel better. I apologised as well. Is it possible to have been affected by that leaf that grew on that place for many, many years? Or maybe possessed is a better place. I assume possessed is a better word. Um, Let me see. I wouldn't necessarily want to, from a supposedly cursed place, as much as I like my diving into the woo woo. No, it's a treat. I would ask for permission if you was to take it. And I mean, was it just the place saying hello? Is it possible to have been affected by that leaf that grew on that place for? Oh, that the leaf grew on the place for many, many years. That makes sense. Well, yeah, yeah, I would imagine so. But if you've got rid of it or returned it or maybe burnt it or returned it to the earth, and you said you've apologized to the spirits of the place, I wouldn't worry too much. Time will tell. If you notice something that's going on, time will tell. That might be a very weird form of hello. It's a weird one and not necessarily a pleasant one. But then you're talking to someone who went through spiritualist medium training, and one of the things they tell you to look for is death pains, and I don't think that's a good idea. So hellos can take very many forms. Is there any equivalent of Samhain in Scandinavia? I have no idea. There's a YouTube guy, Arith something. He does a lot about Norse mythology. He's done videos about what the difference between Norse and Vikings are, because not all Vikings were Norse and not all Norse were Vikings. So you can find him through looking for that, but his name it's Arith, and if there is a Festival of the Dead in Scandinavia, or a Night of the Dead, I don't know. I have no idea. But Arith will know. He's the person to ask for that one. As for Sudu, if you're saying, am I taking tarot questions? No, I will be doing a reading after I've finished all my ranting. Remember, it's my birthday, well, the channel's birthday. I am now 2 years old. Can you believe it? It's my channel birthday, but I will be doing a reading. And what I would advise to do, like I do in my zodiac readings, is when I get to the reading, ask a question beforehand. I'll give you the space to do it. In fact, I'll talk about this now, because I want to talk about Dune in a minute, because I'm a geek and Dune's important. But ask a question. Take a moment and think about all of the questions that are around you and see which one you feel is the most important. And when I get to shuffling the cards in front of you, focus on that question. Now, if multiple questions come up, be aware of all of them, because the cards ain't got the same sense of priority that you and I have. They don't necessarily think the same things are as important as what we do. Or more to the point, they think other things are more important than what we do. So they'll want to talk about them instead. So be aware of all of them. But that focusing on the question, that adds, to sound really woo-woo, it adds energy to the process. Simple as that. When I see a person, thank you very much, Alicia. You're so right. I don't know everything. You know how I actually say, I am not an astrologer. And the thing that I'm doing with the Shem Hamefarash and the Goetic spirits within the zodiac, I'm still learning about it. Fortunately, with how I'm mapping out the zodiac, I know where the gaps of my knowledge with that are, but that's just working out who's who and where. It's not even getting to how do I interpret the combination of these entities. But anyway, let me go back to asking a question. Give your focus onto the question itself. Be aware of all of them. The reading will have a past and a present in it. If it's your reading, you will be able to tell. If it isn't, obviously I'll promote my other readings. Go and watch your moon sign, rising sign, sun sign, whichever. Always watch your rising sign. But today it's a general reading for whoever is here or whoever comes across this video later. But yeah, going back to the astrology, no, I am not an astrologer yet. I do not know everything. I like to think I know everything. I'm very good at thinking I know everything. So I'll just tell my housemate that he can come into the room if you want. We are live streaming, but you're allowed in. There's world. This is my housemate. Harry, do you want to wave at the world? We've got 6 people watching. There's that's thrown me. I've forgotten what I was saying now. Right, Dune. As you can imagine, I was really excited and really looking forward to the movie coming out. And I saw it a few days ago. I'm a bit disappointed, to be quite honest. Dune was a very important set of books for me when I was younger, or very important. I love the old David Lynch movie, but the books are better. And I was really, really disappointed with the Dune. Beautiful let me get my words in. Cinematography. Absolutely beautiful shots. The script was a little more minimalist than what I wanted. But the visual of it was absolutely fantastic. But I really didn't care about Paul, and I really didn't care about Jessica, and I didn't care that whether they survived or not, and I didn't care when Duncan. No, is it Duncan or is it Gurney? Whichever one it was. But I didn't care when they died. I didn't care when Jason Momoa, I'm sure he was Duncan, when Jason Momoa stood to defend Jessica and Paul as they made their escape with Liet Kynes. It was awful. I didn't care. And I love these characters intensely. So it is a beautiful movie to go watch, but I'm not sure it's a fantastic Dune movie. I thought I was going to say more about it, to be honest, because I am really disappointed that I didn't care. Maybe it says more about me. So since there's 5 of you watching, do let me know if you've any ideas of what you'd like to see in the terms of, well, the exclusive content for like Patreon or OnlyFans or whatever. I can't believe I'm contemplating an OnlyFans account, but you know, there's they do say that they are supposed to be a creative space for more than just the more physical side of life. So no, you're right, Alicia. Movies, no, they never do. It is a shame. And that was it. The other thing I wanted to say, the musical score. Now, the original David Lynch movie, I love that music. I love that score. And it was a repeated refrain as the movie went on again and again and again. There were certain musical phrases that you associated with the worms, that you associated with Paul. And that wasn't there. I couldn't, there wasn't one melody or one riff that if I was to hear it somewhere else, I would then go, oh, that was the Dune movie. There is nothing to summon up that sense of Arrakis or Caladan, or the Imperial Court or the Sisterhood of the Bene Gesserit or whoever, wherever. It just wasn't there. It didn't feed that melody or feed that soundtrack into me enough. But one thing I will say, the sacking of Atreides City on Arrakis by the Harkonnens, brilliant. That was great. Great war invasion scene. Fantastic. Far better than the David Lynch movie. That was well done. That was superb. And that was the thing that got the biggest emotional reaction out of me. You could see the savagery of the Harkonnens and the Sardaukar, um, and that was horrible. My heart went out to the Atreides soldiers. That was it. That was the only emotional reaction, and there wasn't even one "tell me of your homeworld" or so, So right. Anyway, back on topic. I know I like to do geek stuff. As I said, when when I've done the show with Carlos, I think what I might do is look at the astrology of various comic stories that I've thoroughly enjoyed over the years, and to see what also events that we can associate with those charts, because I think that might be really interesting. But because just like magic can be frowned upon, I grew up in a generation where being a geek was frowned upon. I have been the outcast of society in all so many ways, and long may I remain so. There's the hermit card is, as my housemate will probably tell you one time, he doesn't think I'm the most sociable of people always. Yeah, no, I love time on my own. But I'm really looking forward to, just a side project, looking at the astrology when I understand enough about astrology, to look at the charts of Crisis on Infinite Earths, Secret Wars, Marvel's Civil War, 0 Hour, Legends, War of the Gods, the summer crossovers and that sort of thing. That should be okay. What's my opinion on magical and esoteric expos? Huh. Well, I can't say as I have one as such. I did used to read on the Psychic Fair circuit. We're talking 20 years ago now. And I got really cheesed off with the Psychic Fair circuit. The stall holders who were selling their wares, superb, absolutely fine. But then some of the readers, not all of them, I am not condemning everybody straight off, but when you get any grouping of people, you're going to get egos, and you're going to get egos that clash. And there were some healers or readers who could be a bit, I'm an ascended person, and so therefore, I mean, I have known one person said that she was an ascended person, so had such a refined vibration, that was why bad things happened to her. What? No, that's go on the crazy pile. I'm sorry, that's nonsense. And I don't want to hear people going, "Oh, well, did you see what that reader did and how they did this and how they did that?" And just, and I don't mean valid criticism, if someone's taking advantage of a client, yes, absolutely, you should say something. But I don't think you should have your knives out on a place that's supposed to be about love, light, and oneness with God and enlightenment. So magical esoteric expos, I don't know, I would love to go to one. And once I've been to one, I can tell you my opinion. But, you know, I'm older to not have been influenced by Harry Potter, but there is that in there in one of his books. There's that magical shop that he goes in and is like, "Ooh, all this interesting magical hocus pocus stuff." I love my hippie shops. I love my magic and occult shops. They're up there with my comic shops to visit, and the ones where I don't necessarily visit that often because I know I will leave with an empty wallet. There's these things that I never even knew existed before, and the moment I let eyes on them, I'm like, "Oh, I want that," and maybe I need it. Possibly, I probably don't, and should think about other things. So, no, I don't really have an opinion. Now, I notice a question from Christian. Speaking of music, is music used in magical rituals or the like? Yes. Not always. And again, it's to the preference of the practitioner, whether, but absolutely, yes. I mean, if I was doing some form of ritual along the thoughts of opening my mind like the spice would want, like the spice could open your mind, I would listen to bits of the Dune soundtrack to get myself into that headspace, to get myself into that mood. Or if I wanted to do something where I wanted the effect of the ritual to snowball. Now you'll probably laugh at me because again, I'm the generation that saw Torval and Dean performing at the Olympics. So, but if I wanted to do some form of ritual that was to invoke something that would snowball, that would increase in weight as time went on, bolero. It's as a also someone who used to go raving, and I love my techno music. I love that building up to the crescendo. I love the drops. I love the how it can really make your body want to move. And bolero is as good as any good orbital tune. You know, there's and so yes, as a part of mood setting. Also, if you're into Hellenistic practice, you can put the Orphic hymns to music. Singing is a wonderful tool for raising your vibration. You know, hey, I market myself as woo woo. You know, so I can say things like that. But yes, singing is a wonderful way of gaining that energy. There was, if you've ever had the opportunity to see Tibetan throat singers, the overtone chanters, go. That low growl that they give really make your ribcage rattle, and you can feel it shaking things free or awakening parts of you. And then you'll have the singers over here, but over from that corner in the room, you will hear sort of doop, 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 as the harmonics from the throat singing just create a completely different sound. Absolutely different sound. I had the pleasure of doing a workshop with, and I've no idea what he's doing these days. I'll have to Google him. I did a day's workshop with a sound healer. So when I'm saying sound healing, he's using his voice and doing the overtone thing, although we didn't have to do the overtone thing, fortunately, because I've got no idea how to do it. I don't know how to make my throat move that way. But he knew the art of throat singing, and it was phenomenal. So even if you just get the chance to go to a throat singing concert, do it. But if you get to go to see a throat singing performer in the context of a religious or a spiritual or a magical or a healing experience, do it, do it, do it. It is so worth it. Right. Yes. Do you know, I don't even know how to pronounce them, but you're right. I do apologize, Alicia. I'm going to say Alicia and I'm going to say Alicia because when I was a kid, I thought the name was Alicia, and I've never got it out of my mind. So the Thing, Ben Grimm, goes out with Alicia Masters. It was only when the movie first came out, it's like, oh, it's Alicia, is it? I never actually know. So I apologise if I say your name wrong. And one of them is going to be wrong. So at least I'm going to be 50% wrong here. But yes, I like Heilung. I don't work a lot with the Nordic entities, not a great deal. I do invoke them before readings, but magically I don't do a lot with Nordic paganism. I tend more towards the Hellenistic paganism. And despite the fact that I'm white boy here, the Orishas have made themselves known to me. Again, that was about 20 years ago, and I have done small amount of work with the Lady Yamaya. And if there's anybody who is willing to introduce me to more about working with the Orishas, I would be fascinated about it. I do not claim to be any form of authority, but they did basically go to me and say, "Oi, pay attention to us." And I was like, okay. I was fascinated. And especially since I first encountered them in a comic, in a Firestorm comic written by John Ostrander, the creator of Suicide, or the modern incarnation at least, of Suicide Squad, who I'm lucky to have had conversations with ever since. But that led me into getting the Tarot of the Orishas and numerous books on the subject. I went to see a Santera in in San Diego one time, who was spot on. The reading that she gave me was fantastic. So I keep meaning to write to her to see if I can interview her for my channel, because her reading was phenomenal. She was, oh, definitely send me a message, Alicia. Send me a message on the Facebook page or via DM me at Twitter. It's at Sunchild with an E at the end, or the Facebook page I think is more private. So yeah, let's have a chat sometime. I've forgotten what I was saying now. Now, yeah, no, that's it. It's gone, fallen out the back of my head. You think the hair would catch it, but yeah, I don't work with the Nordic a lot, but Heilong, I do like the music. I know whenever I go on to YouTube for a music night, I mean, I'll start with all my old rave tunes and what have you from the 90s. Clubbing wise, I'm a 90s boy, but you can tell by the end of the evening that I'm a middle-aged pagan by the things that I'm listening to. Trobe de Marche. I love Shireen. So there's also there's the slightest seasoning of old goth and old emo in that, which they'd probably be horrified to hear me say that. That's what I was saying about the Orishas and John Ostrander, wasn't I? Right, let's have a look. Christian, what was you saying? Thanks for the answer. I agree that singing is useful. Exactly, the Mongolian throat singers. They can sing two notes at the same time, pretty amazing. I think they call it chakras. I don't know. But I will say, just in case, Christian, and I'm sure you would, because I think it was Huffington Post introduced them to the world. But if you have not seen The Who yet, and that's not The Who as in Roger Daltrey, but The Who HU, superb. Again, spreading the word of that particular art around the world. It was great music. They're a Mongolian biker band. I think I remember reading an article when they said that nothing really nothing really sounds more scary than the idea of a Mongolian biker gang. But the music just, it stirs something. It really does. And that's, if you want to use magic in ritual, you could do, whereas I often say with the tarot cards, you can divine, as long as you give yourself a symbolic alphabet, you can divine from cut out photos from OK and Hello magazine. You could, if it gives you the right feeling, if it puts you in the right headspace, you could use Kylie or Jason or Madge. I'm not a Madonna fan. I don't know, Boyzone or Backstreet Boys or some rapper to get you into the right mood, into the right space for some rituals, especially if you are doing magic where you're relying on your own energy. If you are invoking spirits with your magic, or wanting to work with land spirits, or wanting to work with god forms, deities, angels, goetic spirits, then yeah, again, use music, but use music that's appropriate. But if you're doing it from you, like your basic candle magic visualization, and you'll just basically put the picture in your mind and, like Samantha off Bewitched, wiggling her nose, you just go and send that image into the flame and then out into the world. I have a guilty secret, and again, it's my generation. There's a couple of songs from the old Kids from Fame TV show that specifically one called We Got the Power that I love to listen either during or prior to just doing some general workings. So because it just gets me into that mood. It also puts me into the mood of the wonder of, let's see, how old was I? 9. I was 9 years old, so it would be my first nodal switch. And also, when I was 9 years old, was when the first time that one spiritual entity that I'd had contact with later on in life as well first appeared to me. So, and it brings back that childlike wonder and that open-eyed, just gets me into the right headspace. But, you know, it's horses for courses. Everything needs to be appropriate. If you are working with Hellenistic spirits or god forms, then yes, listen to Greek music or listen to ancient Greek music. If you're working with Herne the Hunter, listen to some medieval instruments. Or wonderful things like bardcore, if you haven't discovered bardcore music, where it's modern pop songs. So you know the words, you know the lines, you know the essence of the song, but it's with the medieval instruments, then go with that. Do what works for you. It's not necessarily going to work for the next person, it's going to work for you. And that's the whole point of doing it. So also, if anyone is interested in some Nordic music, give the Merkur album Folksang a listen. I will, because I haven't heard of them. Right, so how long have I been going? I've been going at least an hour now. So I actually want people to watch the recording of it as well later. Let me see. So is there anything else that I want to have mentioned? Upcoming guests. I've called the BBC. I've downcried the effort. I think D.H. Thorne put it greatly. The effort to censor wrongthink, whatever wrongthink is. When people are saying that the world is turning very 1984, I think they're absolutely right. So I have my candles going. I've had the incense going, and I'm just going to do a general reading. Let's see, check my list here. Yep, done everything there on it. So now's the time that I would like you to focus upon your question. And bear in mind that this is Samhain. This is the day that the gates are the largest. The gates are the largest, so the openest. The veil is the thinnest. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, I've been talking for too long, hence diving into the reading. So, okay, we have some cards already. Let me move that out of the way as well. But just as I do this, so focus upon your question. Have a think about all the questions that are around you. Focus on the question and what you want to know, and ask if there is anybody who wants to give you some information, who wants to speak to you. And I would say after this, because of course you're all going to do what I say, obviously, you know, being cult leader here, you know, is, then ask if there are any spirits or any ancestors that want to let you know something. And maybe it will come through in the reading, and some phrase that I would say will spring into your mind, or something that comes out in the reading will spring into your mind. Or maybe later when you sit with a candle. I had a discussion with Catherine Lundeen the other day about working with ancestors. That's not my strong point. And she was just saying, make them a cup of tea and sit down and have a chat with them. And literally make the cup of tea, one for you, one for them, or coffee, or whatever you know, pick your poison. And just sit and talk. And also sit and listen. See what comes up. So, Hopefully the background noise is not coming through too loudly. Bear with me 1 second. Do you mind if I just push this to a second? Don't worry. And there's all my cushions falling everywhere. Right, so... Oh, we've got a whole new 9 people now. So I know I've said hello to about 6 people. So say hello. Tell me where you're from. Alicia, you said you was from New Orleans. Christian, where are you from? Tell me who's around. Where are you listening to me from? Right. So here's the clarification cards. I normally would have them face down, but I've done them the wrong way around this time. So because I was waffling and not concentrating. But I really do like. We have. Ooh. Now let me change cameras. I think, and hopefully you will be able to see. Technical difficulties aside, you will be able to see. Right, let me make that bigger for you, so bear with me. So if I put that there, apply crop. I don't think that's necessarily helped a great deal, has it? Properties. Let's keep the Lincoln Imp. If anyone's wondering what this gentleman here is, this is the Lincoln Imp. He's etched in stone on Lincoln Cathedral. And obviously that's my Demon Possessed Tarot by Bloodstone Studios by Travis McHenry. Oh, perfect. That was obviously the correct thing to do. Right. There's new beginning. There's change energy going on, and there's new beginning energy going on. If you notice in this particular spread of mine, hello, Lisa. So West Aussie. In this spread of mine, there's a present line that just goes through here. So these 2 piles here are a potential future. These are a relevant past. So maybe not necessarily the recent past, but a past where you've learned something that you need to use at the moment, or you've learned something that you need to unlearn, or you're using a lesson that you learned in the past in completely the wrong place, or in, you know, or you're not using the lesson in the right place, or what have you. You get the gist. These 4 piles on the bottom are, they're like, I liken them to the movement of the planets. Their energy flavors, trends, just energies that you have been passing through. This is what is obvious. This is what is underneath, whatever that may mean. It could mean what is hidden. It could mean what is the foundation of the situation. We'll find out as we read the cards. And then this pile, this row of 4 here is basically lifted off the side of the Celtic cross. So how are you feeling? How other people are feeling or influencing you? Hopes and fears. And I like this hopes and fears because we've got, let's start with this, because this is the bit that really jumps out at me to start off with. We have 5 of Swords being clarified by the Magician. But if you look at this 5 of Swords, this is a victorious 5 of Swords. This is the sunlight is coming out. You have achieved your point or your goal or your victory through your own mastery, through your own... Now with this particular Magician, I also want to say through your own exploration, because with this image, with the angel that is behind the magician there, that rather reminds me of Enoch and the angel that visited Enoch, that was the spinning wheels with four wings. So there's, am I setting myself on a mission here that is going to cause conflict? Is it a conflict I want to win? Because sometimes, you've always had, there are those moments where it's like, yeah, I want this, but to have that, I'm going to have to fight that battle. But fighting that battle and winning that battle means this gets damaged, that person gets hurt. Do I really want to do that? Do I really want to cause that? So there's that question hanging in the air. But now is a time for, well, changing course to a certain extent. You've already, most people, and the astrology will back this up, most people are in the process of transformation, working towards the process of transformation, or adapting to transformations that are going on. We have the Chariot clarified by the Death card. So all these transformations that the planets are promising us at the moment, oh, how ironic, because I was going to say there's a bit of a sting in the tail, but of course there is. We're going into Scorpio season, aren't we? But I really like the fact that a lot of people have set something into motion, and now there seems to be results or consequences that are maybe not quite what you expected or what you intended, but they may well be what you need at the moment. Underneath this situation, we have the High Priestess clarifying the Four of Pentacles. So the High Priestess is talking about balance. There's that, again, it's that Saturn-Uranus square thing going on, isn't it? The freedom versus control, or the unusual versus the, what's the word? Conventional. The unusual versus the conventional. And there is a, this is a weird Four of Pentacles. This is the, what's this? This is the Gilded Tarot. And although the Four of Pentacles is still that image of the king going, mine, I'm protecting them. With this one, there's a sensation of delivery. There's a sensation of that which you are protecting, you are picking up and taking to somewhere safe. And you're taking it to somewhere safe because it adds to a greater balance. So, let's have a look. So there is the recent past, because that's what these two cards are. The recent past is showing a time of where you was assigning value to specific things. I want more of that. I want less of that. I don't want that anymore. That's ace. That's crap. Get rid. There's, but some of those decisions were along the lines of, I really like that, but it hasn't got its place anymore. It hasn't got its, it's not healthy for me anymore. It's not helping me move forward. It's almost like a nostalgic thing, but you're having to let go, hence with the Three of Swords, and you've had to say goodbye to some things that felt good and you felt that they had value, but I don't feel they have value anymore for you, if that makes sense. But that was because Spirit was lighting a fire under your backside. We have the Ace of Cups with the Ace of Wands. So this transformation that I could see in this one reading, it's not a surprise to you. What is a surprise is how it is unfolding. But the very fact that it's starting is not a surprise to you, because you was coming from a position of, I think that where you were saying goodbye to something, you had broken an alliance or an allegiance or a partnership with someone or something. Now, bear in mind, this could be like breaking a partnership with a job, or breaking a partnership like me and my news junkie hood. I used to love, and I do indulge every now and again, but I try to keep control of it now. So yes, I've gone through this process. There was something that I had a partnership with, and for me, it was must keep on top of all current events everywhere. I had newsletters from major news services all around the world all coming into my inbox every day. It was nothing for me to get 400 emails a day from, breaking news and today's headlines from Australia and from France and from America and from South America and Google news alert searches and all sorts of things. And I had to say, no, I've got to calm this down now. I've got to break this alliance, which this Two of Cups says. But it had created a foundation, because here we have the Tower card. But bear in mind that when the Tower falls, then the foundations are still there. So that basically means I still get a lot of my emails, but I just sort them and don't necessarily read them. But I've got them ready for when I want to look at something for mundane astrology. I can go into my email box and say, right, what was the New York Times saying on this day, or what was Washington Post, or what was Le Monde, or what is it, The Province, and endless, or Haaretz, or whoever. What were they saying? I've got that work there ready. So, and I never knew at the time that I was building that collection of news and story for the later astrology work, because I didn't know I was going to be going back into the astrology stuff. But this separation has actually opened up opportunities for you. It's certainly opened up opportunities for you to listen to guidance, and also notice what you was bored with and bored about, because the Four of Cups can be a card of boredom. I tend to read it as the divine guidance, that the hand of God coming down and saying, oi, pay attention to this. But there's also, it's the building of a dream, like the Four of Wands. You have the four, whether you want to say cardinal energies or corner points of a dream. So it's not just a dream that it's like the world or spirit has given you that final extra ingredient, so that your other dreams that were already being built and being in place are finally coming to, they've got that final ingredient so that you can build on it. You've got all four corners, so now you can put the decking down and build up from there. Or now you've defined where the foundations will be, and you can build up from there. Because from here you have all the material that you need. And this has been highlighted recently. And it's also, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that, sorry, one of my candles has gone out. Because I always like to do my readings in a triangle of candles. Let's just do it so that I don't burn myself. I really like this particular sun card because it's taking in, we've got symbols of all of the astrological signs on this card. So it's taking in, it's not just that you are the center or it's the ego coming forward. It's a healing light that is taking everything into account. So no wonder things are moving so fast and you're going through a transformation at the moment. No wonder you are having to balance that which you know with that which is unusual, weird, not formally on your radar. But keep plugging at it. Whatever the thing is that you are working on at the moment, keep plugging at it. It is opening up a whole new beginning for you with the Fool card. And here again, we've got that repeated entire zodiac imagery. Now, this particular Fool card, for me, it's not saying that you are taking a blindly diving into a whole new world or anything like that. There's an element of skill and there's an element of levity with this particular card. And yes, there was someone asked me earlier what are my favorite decks, so I'll do that at the very end. I've just suddenly remembered. So it's but there's skill and there's levity with this Fool card, and this is clarifying the Empress. There is being a number 3 card, that's movement, but being the Empress, there's fertility, there's fecundity, you are creating some things like an unexpected pregnancy that you didn't realize were going to be the results of your actions. I'm not saying that you're going to have an unexpected pregnancy. Hello, Alex, and blessed Samhain to you as well, mate. And thank you for coming in from Japan. There's the transformation that you were going through. Like I said, it was the thing between the conventional and the unusual. It was like, oh my God, I'm doing this thing, and it's having this effect, and this effect, and oh wow. I'm not saying that any of them are bad, so it's not unwanted, it's just completely unexpected. It's like, whoa, it's not even where did this come from, it's oh wow, that's a really interesting effect and I want to see more of it. So I've got to do more of what I'm doing. Sorry, you'll have to excuse me. My hair as the day goes on just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why I've normally got it tied back. Now this is leading to, Two of Pentacles. So it's advising, right, because I thought, with this Nine of Cups, it's like, oh, wish fulfillment. Now, I'm not a fan of this particular Nine of Cups, so this one's out of the Tarot Apocalypsis. Because, I don't know, there's a bit of an uneven power relationship going on there. I don't see quite the same gluttony or wish fulfillment that you get in the Rider-Waite deck. And it may well be the wish fulfillment of the person who is being served to be adored and, have their grapes peeled for them. But this Nine of Cups gives me a bit of a sour taste sometimes. But what I really do like is that there is the presence of a teacher, the servant being a teacher, and this statue at the back, which I assume would be Hestia or Demeter. I think she's carrying the cornucopia. I think. Let's say for today's argument, she's carrying the cornucopia. So there's a balance that has to be maintained, but it has to be dynamic. The fact that you're creating these wonderful little side effects, some of them you may have to say, fly little birdies fly, and let them go and do whatever it is that they are going to do in the world. But there is support around you as long as you don't let it go to your head. That's a curious one. But I've really got this presence of, I assume it's a Hestia. I might be wrong. I'll have to check on the book. So there's guidance and there's protection as long as you don't get carried away, because whatever it is that's going on and this transformation that you're going through and these new things that are happening, remember the phrase, this too shall pass. Whatever it is, this too shall pass. Now, welcome to the channel, Jackie, Jackie Melinda. What you can do is watch this live stream later, ask your question, and see if this reading is actually giving you any answers. I'm not doing any specific personal readings today. You can go to the channel page on Facebook and contact me that way if you want a personal reading. But this is a reading for everybody. But since you've come in after I started, what I tend to tell people is ask a question. Concentrate on the question, ask the question, think about all the questions that are around you, focus on one of them, and then listen to the past and the present of this reading and see if this reading is appropriate for you. Now, if it's easier for you as well, go back and do that and draw the, since we're live streaming, draw the time, little red dot time stream back on the bottom of the video, half an hour. Because I started this reading pretty much half an hour ago. Right, so underneath this, yes, Plutus, yeah, you're right, they did. This is definitely a female, so I would say Demeter, but the fact that she's in the home makes me think of Hestia as well, and it might not even be the cornucopia, but let's say that was the first thing that popped into my mind. Now, underneath all that is, this is why. Because there is a balance that needs to be maintained. Look, two of Pentacles here, Two of Pentacles here. So you are creating, and it's making me think of this Two of Wands, but starting that cycle again. You are going to, by looking for some balance, you are creating a partnership with you and something else. You don't necessarily know what that something else is yet, but it is going to enable you to get very clear sight, get clarity, look for some form of, some form of clarity, some form of truth. Maybe it's like a whittling down of the process that you're involved with, because you've created your children from this process and they're going out into the world. Someone else may, some of the balls that you dropped, that's okay, because someone else will pick those balls up and run with them. So we're going into a session of the Six of Cups, Seven of Cups. Now this Six of Cups, there's actually, what it reminds me of, you know that meme where there's two women and one of them's, and then the second picture is the cat sat behind the table by the plate. It reminds me a little bit of that. But six tends to indicate contentment, but with it being followed by the Seven of Cups, it's almost as like whatever you have, whatever you are offering or whatever is offered to you, you don't have to go for the first thing, because more is going to come, but you are spreading a form of plenty. You are spreading a form of contentment. You are spreading something that is positive. And let's look at the potential futures or future. Let's see if there's Ten of Cups, Ten of Wands. Like I say, this too will pass. Definitely this too will pass, because two tens together, that's a completion. But Ten of Wands, Ten of Cups, you put the work in, you get the reward out, and it's leading to something better. Look at how those cups, I always tend to think in this particular card that those cups are leading you up the steps to the sacred halls of Olympus themselves. Now for our other pile, Emperor, Page of Swords. Somewhere, two ways of saying this. If you fell prey to that whole ego, I'm ace thing around this Nine of Cups card, then what you are trying to achieve is not necessarily going to pan out quite the way that you want it to, and it will be talked about. But conversely, if you don't fall prey to that ego trap, it will still be talked about in a way that is establishing you as an authority. Hopefully that makes sense, because that's the message that I'm getting from there. Because, yeah, you're putting the work in at the moment and you believe that you get into a better place. Absolutely, that is true. Six of Swords, Eight of Pentacles here. But if you think about the Six of Swords normally, there is a ferryman that's taking you there. Here, nope. You're off there on your own. You're going under your own power. You're the one pushing that pole. You're the one propelling the boat. You're the one taking yourself to this better place, and it's under moonlight. So you don't necessarily know where this better place is or where you're heading to, but you are most definitely putting the work in. Now, I think that there's a teaching role going on with you at the moment as well. And that is both that you are teaching somebody, whether you're showing them by example or you're sharing your skills with them, but also there is teaching that is being delivered to you as you go along this path. And no, you don't know where the destination is, but it is one of those homilies that the destination is nowhere near as important as the journey. And here it is the journey that is important. And it has to be important because you haven't got a clue where you're going here. And you know what? That's fine. To quote the Course of Miracles, that's okay. Especially with Ganesh sat at the back of this card as well, bringing fortune. I really like that sense of, yes, I'm finally going somewhere. So if you feel that you are finally going somewhere, then this is saying you're on the right track. If you're in that space of feeling where I'm not sure where I'm going, well, there's two ways of interpreting that. You could be, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know. I don't know because I don't know what I'm doing. Well, that would imply that you're not putting the work in. But if you are putting the work in, you might not know where you're going destination-wise, but you know it's that way. And whatever it is that's that way, that's where you're going. You know, so, and your work's being supported here. Eight of Pentacles again in the other people. I'm clarifying the moon. Now, I like this moon card. It's very, it reminds me of Hecate or Nyx or some like Forgotten Realms sorceress like Storm, what's her name? Storm something, Storm Silverhand? Was that one of the harpers of Toril? Anyway, I'm sure it's Storm Silverhand. But there's a certain amount of, there's other people that still, you have to be working with other people here. That even though it's you're directing your thing, you have to leave the space open for other people to pop their heads up and disappear and enter and go. Because somebody's got a secret that's good for you. Somebody has got a secret that can help you, and they're going to tell it to you, that whether it's a bit of wisdom or it's a bit of magic, and it's something that this is an influence that ebbs and flows like the tides or like the moon. This is an influence that isn't exactly what it appears to be to start off with, but you might be surprised at what a good ally you actually have. You might not even like this person, but they are nonetheless your ally. They might not like you, but you are working, how can I put it? You are supporting each other's efforts by whatever they are doing, that helps you, and what you are doing helps them. You don't necessarily even need an alliance, but because this person here, this influence here, it does feel a bit like oh God, I've got to go and talk to them sort of feeling. But that's okay, because what you're going to achieve, you're achieving two separate things, but they are working harmoniously. I think that's the phrase, or synergistically. Yeah, since I say woo-woo, synergy. You have a good synergy with the efforts of this one person. They've got something that they can add to you. So the final outcome here, which is wonderful, because hey, guess what? Remember I said new beginning energy? Ace of Pentacles right here as the final outcome with the Ten of Pentacles. So everything that you are working towards, if you are on a specific path where you are knuckling down to, and you don't know where you're going to end up. You've got no idea where you're going to end up, but you know it's that way, or it's by doing this thing, whatever this thing is. By doing this thing, this is where my life is taking me. Keep putting that work in, you get your new beginning, you get a grounded new beginning. The other way of looking at this, Ace and a Ten of Pentacles, would be reward, a reward for your efforts. But there's also, with that Ace to 10, it's giving me what I call the Page of Pentacles, my level up card. Finished 1 to 10 the first way round, and now you're back at number 1 of the next level, the court level. So here, it's you are setting yourself up correctly for the next level, whatever that means. So for whoever is watching, I hope that has given you the, I hope it's answered your question. If it hasn't, I would normally say go watch your moon and rising sign, you know, whatever they are, go and watch them. But this wasn't a sign-specific reading. I will definitely have to play this back myself because I can take it, but I think. But this is really positive. We are in a time, astrology-wise, we are in a time of great change and transformation. This is what we know this. It started back in 2020 with the oh my God, the sky is falling down sort of astrology that was going on last year and is continuing this year. And apparently it doesn't get less challenging till about 2025 or 26. But I don't know about you, but recently I've been really enjoying it. I've had emotional highs and emotional lows, and I've had weird things just happen in front of me that make me go, okay, I was not expecting that. You know, plenty of left field elements, and I've been feeling the emotions and just stepping back and watching the emotions all at the same time. And if you can manage that, well, to be honest, you have to manage that. You have to. It's the only way these current times are going to make sense to you. Feel all of the emotions and be completely stood back and just witnessing them all at the same time. And it's the only way that you have any hope that any of this stuff is going to make sense to you, that what we're going through at the moment. But we have an opportunity here to really, certainly with this reading, and this is an opportunity that we've been looking for with this reading. This is something we've been working towards. This is something, whether you are the, now, Anne, I've forgotten her name. Anne, what's her name, from Astrology Hub, who does the weekly weather report, said that one of the fixed cardinal or mutable, one set would have the change in the first direct Saturn-Uranus square. Then we had the middle one, and now we're building up to the final one. So one was, I think it's the final one, where I think first one was the cardinal signs get the, we've got to change something. And then the mutable signs, we've got to change something. And then finally the fixed signs dragged kicking and screaming into changing something. And that's where this reading feels like it's reading more towards the cardinal and mutable, because you've already started to make that progress. And if you're a fixed sign, and bear in mind, just because your sun is fixed or cardinal or mutable, or your ascendant is fixed or cardinal or mutable, you have to look at the whole chart. And again, Anne said something about how to work it out for your chart, whether you're overall a fixed cardinal or mutable. But you probably know, you know, do you like things to stay always the same? Are you starting things and not necessarily change? not necessarily completing them, or are you always adapting to whatever's going on around you and changing? Sometimes for good, sometimes not so good. But that doesn't matter. That's where the mutable energy is the strongest. And here, if you're a fixed sign and you've been working towards something, trust me when I say it's going to change. What you are trying to achieve and what you actually achieve are going to change, and that's going to be a good thing. Okay, so that's the end of that reading. Now, it was, where was we? Who was it? I think, was it Christian? Or was it... Black and Yellow Penguin said, do I have a favourite tarot deck or an oracle? Now, I do apologise for not answering that question at the time. I want to say, of course I have a favourite. I have several favourites. I love the original Rider-Waite. I love these two, Gilded Tarot, Tarot Apocalypsis. I think one of my favourite tarots are the Spellcaster Tarot. I like working with the Thoth deck. Obviously, you hear me wax lyrical about the Angel Tarot and the Demon Possessed Tarot. I really, really like working with them, but I like working with them as clarifiers more than actual cards themselves, rather than the main deck. But as you've seen, I will, as long as I've got the tarot basis, I will use Babylon 5 collectible card game cards, or Yu-Gi-Oh, or I haven't used Pokemon. I have never caught the Pokemon bug. Or there's Heresy collectible card game. Oh, what was it called? Heresy Kingdom Come. They're designed to work with tarot readings. They really are. What else have I got? There's other from my geek days that I intend to use on videos in the future. As for oracle decks, what I really like is, if you've ever watched my Full Moon Gods at Play videos, it's using those decks that focus purely on gods and, well, gods, goddesses, spirits, that sort of thing. Because then they're not all wonderful love and light. Do you know what I mean? You're looking at the influence of the gods in a period of time or for a reading, and we know from the Hellenistic gods they could be fickle. Zeus could give you great riches or strike you down with a thunderbolt. I'm not a fan of, say, the universe has your back cards, because everything's so nice and saccharine, and sometimes that's useful, but not in isolation. It's all right to put it with a big reading of all the other cards. Some of the really nicey oracle decks are useful. It will give you something to focus on. But you need to have the shadow with the light. Otherwise, what's the point of the reading? I quite like the energy oracle. Just looking at my... I've recently discovered the elemental oracle. I quite like that one. The dark goddess oracle is a particular favourite of mine. And the wisdom of the House of Night. Now, I've never read them books. It's some young adult vampire fiction books. And you are allegedly talking to the queen vampire, mother goddess vampire, Nyx, with these cards. I've never read the books, but the cards are great. The cards really, really do speak out well in a reading. I'd like to get a copy of Emmy Evolving's Oracle deck that she's released, but I haven't been able to afford it yet. What other? There's, yeah, I just love cards. I adore cards. There's, I have to confess, I think I have a cat tarot. I think I've got one. Just for And how I choose, especially when I'm doing six deck or when I'm working with a client, I've got a little cabinet with loads of drawers that are full of my different tarot decks. And simply let's put these here. So I'll show you what I mean. So they're all out, and I was like, do I want this one? Do I want this one? Do I want this one? Do I want that one? They have something to say, so I'm going to finish off with an Angel Oracle card because that was really warm. So, yeah, the Angel Oracle obviously has something to say, so I'm going to draw this to a close in a moment. But let's just leave with one final Angel card. Well, Angel Tarot card. Okay, that one wants to come out, obviously. So we have the Three of Wands. Progress is being made. Now, this is nice. So on this deck, this is the Angel Tarot. Again, it was originally the Angel Evoking Tarot from Bloodstone Studios. You now get it on Amazon as the Angel Tarot from Rockpool. And Three of Wands indicating that movement, indicating time for or the appreciation that ships are going to come in. And then we have the Three of Wands here being Sitael, whose name means the god of hope. Now, Sitael is about construction of the universe, help with great works, and protection from adversaries. Now, what I really want to draw in is that construction of the universe and help with great works. We are always, especially if we're creating our own universe, we are always building our own universe. So all of us require or will benefit from Satael's administrations and attentions. But help with great works. That was what a lot of that reading was implying, that they are great works that we are doing. Whether it's a great work that will affect just you, or a great work that will affect just your family or just your neighborhood, or a great work that would affect the entire world. It doesn't matter. Find your great work and do it. And that reading is saying to me that a lot of people have had the benefit of getting glimpses of what their great work is actually going to be. So Thursday is the new moon in Scorpio. I will be doing a show with astrologer David Fisher. Oh God, Thursday's really busy. So I'll be recording with David Fisher in the morning, well, midday-ish. And then I will be recording with a show on the Diamonds and Kat's new book that is finishing on Kickstarter today. So, I can't remember what the book's called, but if you just look up Daimon, Daimons, on Kickstarter, Kat Rose Negan's book is on there. I've had the privilege of reading some extracts from it. It's well worth it, especially if you like your astrology or like working with the Hellenistic spirits. But have I got a link or anything like that? No, I haven't. But so today, Sunday, Halloween, it's on there. It finishes tonight. But on Thursday, she's coming on to... Oh, no, tell a lie. That's a week Thursday. But Thursday night, I will be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, to chat with D.H. Thorne on his station. So, his channel, sorry. So, yeah, that's it. Blessed be everybody. Samhain blessings. Let the gates open for you today of all days. If there is any wisdom or any visitation that you require, today is the day to do it. Say goodbye to the old year. Say hello to the new year. And yeah, enjoy, folks. See you later. Now give me a minute while I figure out how to turn the live stream off, because first time I did it, I didn't know how to do it. So, see you later.